Welcome to the Healthy Heart Show, where we pull back the curtain on conventional medicine and dive into the root causes of cardiovascular health. If you are concerned about high cholesterol, high blood pressure, heart attacks, stroke, or atrial fibrillation, this is the place for you. We will provide natural heart information that will help you prevent, treat, and reverse any ailment, leaving pills and procedures out of the picture. Here are your guides to holistic heart health, board-certified cardiologist and Amazon best-selling author, Dr. Jack Wolfson, and natural heart doctor, naturopathic physician, Dr. Lauren Latanza. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Healthy Heart Show. I'm your host today, Dr. Lauren Latanza. I am the naturopathic physician here at Natural Heart Doctor, which is your home for the 100-year heart. As always, we have an excellent group of guests today here that bring you another perspective into reaching your 100-year heart. We have not one, but two brilliant physicians. We have Dr. Daniel Cartledge, who practices medicine at the National Pain Institute in Delray Beach, Florida, and specializes in interventional pain medicine. We also have Dr. Richard Cartledge, who has been chief of cardiac surgery of Boca Raton Regional Hospital since 2013. Together, these two brothers started Neuvana LLC in 2015, which was then chosen as Best Health and Wellness Device in 2016 at the Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas. As we know, that is just huge. This patented vagus nerve stimulation device, I can't wait to hear all about it. So welcome to the show, Dr. Daniel and Dr. Richard Cartledge.
Thanks so much for having us.
So let's just kind of start with the basics. So can we talk a little bit about what is the vagus nerve?
Sure. So Lauren, talk about the origin of the physiology that the vagus nerve stimulates. And everyone's heard of the fight or flight response when a human being is in a stressful situation, especially historically when we were in the bush and there was a threat of some sort. The sympathetic nervous system kicks in. Everyone has a sympathetic nervous system, and it is the part of the brain that signals to your entire body there's a stressful situation that you need to either fight or get out of dodge. And it increases the heart rate. It increases your breathing. It makes you sweat. And it gives you this anxious feeling where you can move quickly, and it's generally uncomfortable during those periods of time. Now, this is a normal response that humans have to have. It's functional. If your hand is on a hot stove, you're going to pull it away. That's your sympathetic nervous system kicking in and making you feel uncomfortable, but it saves your hand from getting burned. Now, that's okay. But when the sympathetic nervous system is constantly on and upregulated, it gives people a sense of constant anxiety. So the human has a counterbalance to the sympathetic nervous system called the parasympathetic nervous system. That's the nervous system that counteracts the fight or flight response, and it gives you a feeling of calmness and well-being. So we'd all like to be at a beach in South Florida right now, sipping a cold drink and having warm air blow through your hair. And that is the parasympathetic nervous system that kicks in, that makes you feel good and comfortable. The problem is when people do not have a durable parasympathetic system, when the vagus nerve is not getting signaled enough, that causes a constant sense of baseline anxiety, which is not functional. That's the anxiety that comes from anyone who's chronically ill, or they may just have a genetic imbalance of those two nervous systems. And besides yoga and taking a vacation and deep breathing, there are not a lot of ways to stimulate the counterbalance to the fight or flight response until now.
Awesome. So you mentioned, so it kind of increases your heart rate, increases your blood pressure, speeds up your breathing. So it has a lot of different responsibilities in the body, the vagus nerve. So can you kind of, what is the vagus nerve responsible for in normal bodily function? We're not always running from a tiger or a bear in this day and age. So what's the point of it now?
So the point of it now is to give you a sense of well-being and calmness, which automatically leads to better focus, better sleep, better mood. Chronic stress is the root of most of the commonly treated disorders using pharmacology to treat. People with anxiety that's chronic, those are the people that benefit greatly from non-invasive vagus nerve stimulation. People that have fear of getting on an airplane, let's say, that's uncomfortable. They don't want to be uncomfortable for the entire flight. So we give the vagus nerve some stimulation, and that will automatically change your physiology to feel that calmness, which again, every organ in the body is affected. The heart's affected by these two nervous systems. You can make your heart rate go fast or slow. This nervous system that we're speaking of, the two poles of it. The lungs, you breathe more slowly, take deeper breaths when you have the vagus nerve stimulated. Your spleen, which is a major immune modulating organ, is down-regulated so that your systemic inflammatory response is driven down. Mm-hmm. And you can imagine the benefits. Your pain threshold increases with vagus nerve stimulation. As a result, you can think better, feel better, enhance your mood, have better sleep, and get through those daily stressful events that wind up being dysfunctional.
So it does. I mean, it's incredibly widespread. So maybe both of you could expand maybe separately about how, so coming from a background of cardiology and coming from a background of pain, how is it that you both came to be interested in vagal nerve stimulation?
Yeah. So actually in my pain management practice, I was using a device that stimulates auricular. It was transcutaneous. It was using needles under the skin in the ear. And it was stimulating the vagus nerve and helping with pain. We tried it for a lot of patients with fibromyalgia, which is a widespread pain syndrome. And I brought this up to my brother, and we came up with the idea like, hey, this works so well transcutaneously, percutaneously, excuse me. We should try to develop a consumer product that anyone can use that goes through the skin without any needles, that does transcutaneous stimulation. And my brother found a really interesting study that was very compelling, closer to this idea for our consumer product that we have today.
Right. My first contact with vagus nerve stimulation had to do with a small company called Cyberonics in Texas that used cardiac pacemakers that instead of attaching to the heart, they attach the electrodes to the vagus nerve as it courses through the neck. And it was designed to prevent epileptic seizures in patients who weren't responding to multiple medications. And not only did it work exceptionally well and have statistically significant results in suppressing seizures in epileptics, but the number one side effect after the trappings of surgery, bleeding, infection, after those complications were listed, the third one was euphoria. And I thought to myself, wait a second. This device that hooks up to this nerve called the vagus nerve can accept electrical signals and make people feel generally well. Now, why is that? And it was looked at originally as a complication, an unwanted side effect. And so when my brother interfaced with me about this system that uses needles that penetrate through the skin in the ear, I thought to myself, maybe there's another way to approach this that precludes the need for surgery and doesn't break the skin like needles would. And I bet we thought that there's a way to stimulate that same nerve without an incision and without needles, and could be produced at a cost that allows the average person to access this wonderful technology.
Yeah. Keyword non-invasive. Like you said, all these other side effects of surgery, maybe people have this aversion to needles in their ears. So are there ways, and we will definitely get to your product, are there any ways that we can stimulate the vagal nerve without these maximally invasive procedures?
Yes, absolutely. So there's been a lot of techniques that humans have found that will actually stimulate the vagus nerve, like deep, slow breathing. That will stimulate the vagus nerve. Massage stimulates it. Yoga
Meditate.
upregulates the vagus nerve stimulation. And these things are great, and they're amazing first line corrections for the stress response. However, not a lot of people are able to learn and perform yoga routinely enough to have the global benefits from that activity. I certainly don't have the time or the concentration to do yoga every day. Deep breathing certainly works, but directly stimulating the nerve electronically is effortless, and it allows a lot of people to access vagus nerve stimulation without learning techniques of yoga and so forth. But I still encourage the practice, of course. But for those who cannot learn yoga or don't have the time, deep breathing works well, but it does take some concentration and patience to do it right and to do it well.
Absolutely. What is the quote? Everybody needs to meditate for 1 hour a day. And if you don't have time, then you need to 2 hours.
Exactly.
But who's got the time?
It's funny. I hear that all the time.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to pull it off in the real world for everyone.
Really hard to etch that in when you're already kind of like up to here with things to do. Okay. So what do we do? So we've got this device. So tell us how it works. What's it called? If you have one, you can show me. I think it's very cool.
This is the device. It's called Neuvana, and it's the Zen unit. Neuvana is the company name. Zen is this particular product, and it's about the size of a hockey puck. Mm-hmm. And at the bottom, there is an attachment for earbuds, because the stimulation that we're performing through this device actually stimulates through the white wire side, which is put into the left ear.
Okay.
And the right bud goes into the right ear. If you want to listen to music while you're getting your vagus nerve stimulation, it's not necessary to use it with music, but it certainly does enhance the experience.
Awesome.
It feels like an electrical signal, sort of like mild static electricity. Mm-hmm. Through the ear canal. So we've determined through many years, the device connects to two earbuds. The one that's actually sending the signal is the one with the white cord that goes in your left ear, like so. The Zen device has the ability to deliver the vagus nerve signal while you're listening to music. So if you want to synchronize the signal delivery with music, then you would use the right earbud as well for stereo sound. Mm-hmm. But at baseline, you only need one bud in to get the stimulation. And it feels like mild static electricity in your ear canal. It's not unpleasant, and the effects are profound.
So it is an electrical impulse. It is not a sound wave that. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
So if you're not listening to music with that, you would just have some sort of electrical sensation. There would be no sound.
So there's actually three options. So there's what we call sensations, which are preset waveforms. Okay. So you can choose those with or without music. And the beauty of this is, it's Bluetooth, it's app based. So as technology, as we learn more through studies, we can actually change the waveforms, do new settings. The other option is called sync mode, in which you can sync your Zen device to music. It can be Spotify, it can be your iPhone, really any music source. So the interesting thing is the signals will actually sync with your music, which is a really cool sensation, listening to, whatever music you love. And actually, you kind of, in a way, audiophiles describe it as like, oh, I can feel the music. I can actually feel the beat. It really brings a new dimension to the music, besides, of course, getting the vagal nerve stimulation, all the benefits of that effect. The third mode we call ambient mode, where basically the Zen device signal will be synced to ambient music. So if you're at a concert, people are at a club with a DJ, it'll actually pick up the ambient music. So there's really the sensations, which are the preset waveforms that you can choose. We have multiple on our app. As well as a sync mode where you can sync your own music to the device, or the ambient mode where you can listen to ambient music at a concert and it will sync to that.
And to be clear, the synchronization takes the music and it will track the beat of the music with the signal that you feel. Wow. So it's synchronized. So it feels like the sensation that you're getting physically in the ear canal is going with the music, and it brings the pleasure of the experience to a whole new level when it's used in sync with music. A lot of people at the big music festivals will use the audio mode, where it takes the ambient concert sounds and it converts it into a signal. So you're getting the concert and you're getting this sensation that, like my brother said, gives you an additional dimension of the music. And some people can't listen to music without it.
Yeah, it probably changes it from almost like a visceral experience when you're.
Exactly. Right. Exactly.
Very cool. So are there different, maybe if it can be done with any type of music, is that right? Anything that would maybe be more beneficial? The Healthy Heart Show will be right back after we take this quick break to hear from our sponsor. Would you like to drink great tasting coffee that's also good for your heart health? Cardiology Coffee is your answer. This 5-star rated coffee is delicious. It's a gourmet coffee that begins with whole organic beans, hand-selected and carefully roasted. It's tested and certified to be free of pesticides, mold, and other toxins. Cardiology Coffee is great for your heart, and you're going to love how it tastes. Order now online at cardiologycoffee.com. Now back to the Healthy Heart Show.
It's really a matter of total electrical current dose. Mm-hmm. So if you have it synced to music and you have a fast-paced song with a powerful refrain, let's say, then you're going to get a lot more net signal over the duration of the song than if you have a softer song. But it still works, and it works great. It may take a little longer to get an effect with a softer song because the signal follows the music beat and tone and will not deliver as much of a dose with a softer song, but it can absolutely be used with softer songs, no question.
So, but the net effect is still parasympathetic stimulation. So overall, this sense of calming and well-being, even if it's like a 150 beats per minute song, that's really kind of
exactly. Yes, exactly. Yes, it gives you that effect despite the cadence of the music.
Okay.
You will feel calm. You will feel just a general sense of enhanced well-being. And over time, the effects sustain even in between sessions.
So how might you suggest that people use the Zen products? Is this something that you would do like daily, only before bed? How do you suggest that it's best used?
We recommend 15 minutes twice a day. And you mentioned the timing of this. Really the key points that we've studied for the effects of the Zen device would be helping with anxiety, improving mood, helping with sleep, and also helping with focus. It really takes out kind of the background noise of life when you're sitting down to do a task, like even something mundane like doing your taxes. So obviously people who are using it for insomnia are going to use it right before they go to sleep, right before they go to bed, and really get incredible results. And we hear stories of people that have gotten off Ambien and different sleeping medications by using this device. It's really, really a profound effect for insomnia for so many people. And of course, and de-stressing, again, stimulating that parasympathetic activity is going to bring a sense of calm to you. So a lot of people will do it after they come home from work, they had a stressful day or not, just to kind of unwind, we have people telling us it kind of takes the place of that martini after work or that glass of wine.
Exactly.
It's calorie free too. So people like that.
So you were asking Lauren about the sessions, the recommended usage, and really the quote induction therapy is twice a day, 15-minute sessions for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be done anytime. It can be done used before bed. It can be used during a meal. After those 2 weeks, it resets your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, where your vagus nerve is upregulated even in the absence of stimulation. So it's not a therapy that only has an effect during the session, but it has an enduring effect, especially after 2 weeks. So we recommend 2 15-minute sessions daily for 2 weeks, and then as needed after that. And it's been profoundly successful in treating people's baseline anxieties. And
that's amazing. So it's kind of sounds like working out, right? So if you do one bicep curl once a month, you're not going to have any improvement, but it's kind of like tonifying your vagal parasympathetic tone so that over time you accumulate, and then you're kind of, okay, I've got a little bit more of a muscle tone just without even holding a weight.
Yes.
Right. You actually get a faster response too. You also get a faster response to the effect because of neuroplasticity. So people who've been using Zen for a more extended period of time are going to really feel the effects much faster. I mean, it's, pretty immediate actually, for people that have been using on a regular basis for an extended period of time. So it's kind of nice. You actually, knowing that the more you use it, the faster, you don't get tolerant to the effect. It's actually the opposite. It works faster and it's actually more effective because of neuroplasticity. As the body gets more used to having this VNS, this vagal nerve stimulation on a regular basis.
Yes. And the effects have been profoundly researched. We've done our own research with our device. It's been researched independently using our device. And then there's a lot of labs and universities that are constantly testing vagus nerve stimulation in the fashion that we deliver it for various conditions. It's been shown to treat very well multiple conditions: insomnia, dysthymic mood, general anxiety. There's a lot of data on how VNS enhances your focus. And that's a common use of the device when you have to do a mundane task that you're really not interested in doing, but you have to do it and you have to focus on it. Like my brother mentioned, doing your tax preparation. It's onerous for most people. And having your vagus nerve upregulated and upregulating your parasympathetic nervous system just blocks unwanted thoughts and allows you to control much better the focus at the moment, instead of having rogue thoughts popping into your head and diverting you. It gives you the ability to control your focus much better than without it.
So like kind of these foundational things. So improve sleep, improve mood, improve focus. And then if we kind of go further, so maybe you haven't even studied these with this device, but so, if we have anxiety, all of the things that kind of are downstream of that, increased blood pressure, atrial fibrillation, kind of all of these downstream symptoms of kind of not addressing these foundational pieces like poor sleep and anxiety, we can really kind of start just improving it at its foundation within that vagal nerve.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah, we think of the number of disease processes that are, aggravated with stress and tough lifestyle. It's amazing, from cardiac disease, inflammation in the body, chronic pain can be directly related to stress as well. There's just, it's kind of, there's really limitless possibilities with this device.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're talking inflammation, that can go in any disease state.
Right. There's actually been a lot of rheumatologic studies, studying effects of vagal nerve stimulation on, again, like my brother said, the spleen and all these, cytokine release as well. So it's really interesting stuff that we haven't necessarily tested our device for, but, we plan on doing that in the future.
And these have been studied by universities around the world in the effects of vagus nerve stimulation in the same method of delivery that we use for our Zen device. And it's funny, people always ask us, Lauren, how could it be that it does all these things? It can, help focus and enhance your sleep, enhance your mood. The litany of things it does goes on and on. And really, when you think about it, all of these conditions that humans battle with on a daily basis are almost all related to your stress level. So reducing stress is the major factor here that blocks all the things that are bad from your fight and flight response when you have chronically low vagus nerve tone. So it really does make sense when you take a moment and think about how stress reduction will improve a host of physiologic parameters and psychological parameters by that one function of stress reduction, profound stress reduction.
Well, and truly kind of head to toe. So it's a cranial nerve that we're addressing. So like you said, improve focus, all of this. But then, I mean, I would imagine even things like digestion can be improved because we know that our stressors, our anxieties, everything really impacts our gut. We have a gut feeling about something.
Exactly. And your sympathetic, your fight or flight response wreaks havoc on your GI system. Very good point. I mean, when you're nervous, a lot of times your belly hurts because blood flow is diverted away from your intestines when you're stressed so that you can have more blood flow to your muscles, which again is functional when you're being chased by a beast. And it's not functional when it's chronic. People that have chronic illnesses, they maintain a level of stress beyond the average person. And it becomes chronic fight or flight response that doesn't go away. And those are the people that benefit most from vagus nerve stimulation.
Right. Yeah, you're making a great point, Lauren. Even irritable bowel syndrome seems to be directly linked to stress.
Yes, and there are studies showing its benefit, vagus nerve stimulation, in the irritable bowel syndrome world.
Yeah, I could only imagine the benefits are just endless, really. So taking something that's found frequently in the literature that is being studied, and so you've made this accessible for people to buy and have in their home. So where can people find this? How do people purchase and get this into their possession?
Yeah. They can buy it online on our website. It's neuvanalife.com. It's NEUVANA life.com. We're also on social media at Neuvana Life. And right now we're just doing direct online sales for this.
Awesome.
Right. You can't get it on Amazon. This is, exclusively through our website.
Good. And there is a very generous code. So if you go to neuvanalife.com and type in healthy 10, you can get 10% off of a Zen or one of the bundles. So that is awesome. I would definitely grab that up. It's such a great device. And honestly, I think that it would be probably an excellent gift. I don't know that there's really anybody that could not benefit from this. And on that note, are there any, negative side effects, maybe somebody that shouldn't use this?
One of the contraindications are people that have a pacemaker or a defibrillator that's sensing heartbeat in the electrical signal from the heartbeat. And so that's the main contraindication against it. The others have to do
people with seizure disorder as well, and pregnant women as well.
Okay. But otherwise very relatively safe.
Oh, yeah, it's extremely safe. And don't forget, Lauren, that we're on a pretty far down generation on this. And we have data from our early devices that were not nearly as refined, and thousands of people have Zen or the original units that work in a very similar fashion and we have not had any reports of a serious complication beyond local ear canal inflammation. And that's pretty much it as far as contraindications.
Okay. All right. Well, I cannot wait to get my hands on a Zen device. I know that much. And if everybody would all go to neuvanalife.com, we've got Healthy 10 for 10% off. Follow on Instagram, Facebook, all at Neuvana Life, and learn more, see all of the benefits that can be provided to yourself, your family, your loved ones. So get everybody and flex your vagus nerve and get that vagal nerve toned up. Thank you again so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it, Lauren. This was fantastic.
Absolutely. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Healthy Heart Show. We will catch you next time. That does it for today's episode. Thanks so much for listening to the Healthy Heart Show. Please help us get the word out by liking and subscribing to our podcast and our Facebook page, Natural Heart Doctor. Please show support for our podcast sponsor, Cardiology Coffee, your resource for organic, antioxidant-rich, mold and pesticide-free coffee shipped straight to your door. Learn more by adding @Cardiology Coffee on Instagram and visiting cardiologycoffee.com. This podcast provides materials for information and educational purposes only and should not be considered medical advice. We encourage you to contact your physician for any of the health issues discussed here.